Stage 3 of this process is where I provide the random transparencies along the edges of these clouds, about 20 pixels this way and 23 this way on the interior. However, there are some essential preparations that I need to do first, and that is backing up the outlines. Why do that? Well, in the case I have to make adjustments later on down the road for future design changes and stuff like that, I'll easily be able to do that. At least easily be able to revert. However, that's not the only preparation that I need to make. What I need to do is I need to first, let's see, get this color. What's so special about that color? Easy. It's the halfway point. And I need to make sure I got it on whole selection. And from there, I'm otherwise ready to go. This process is actually quite highly repetitive, but it's pretty straightforward in a way. Filters, blur, Gaussian blur. And what's so special about doing this? But I need 3 here and RLE. 3 for the first one. Okay, now I select, invert the selection, bucket fill, make sure it's on fill similar colors this time, and make sure that's the same color. And now I go by and fill the interiors of each and every single one of these, excluding those that are otherwise highly out of bounds. Although this one's kind of on the edge here, it's awfully close, and it might interfere to some extent. So I'll add that one in anyway, just in case. You never know. Like, for example, what's the point of doing this when it's already here? Doing this when it's already here. But this tile's over here, and thus I need to do this one. If you know what I mean. But get rid of that, duplicate, and this time I do a little different. Not 3, 4. Okay. Select the interior part again, invert the selection. Don't need that to be visible. This is 149. It steps by 21 1/4 each time, in case you're wondering. And I repeat this process. Should get that one too. Move this down so it's easier to target. Okay, that's otherwise it. Repeat this process again. This time I use Control F to repeat the effect, so I don't have to use the menus, knowing how this program tends to crash. Plus, it's also faster on occasion too. But I'll just reference the various colors that I use. This one's easy though, 170, and that's exact. This next color is 191. This color is 213. It's actually 212.5 exactly, that. But you know how rounding is. This color is 234. And then the last color is very special, the white. For that, I just simply do that and don't even have to bother with processing that. That's because it's where it's fully opaque. And thus, that completes all of the interior part. And it's also a good checkpoint to save too, of course. So, the exterior is done almost in a similar way too, of course. So, what I do in this case is same Gaussian blurs, same 4. Invert the selection, except in this case it's, let's see, it's not 128, it's 106.25. But this time, 1 click. However, with these eventually joining up, there's going to be a little eventual problem. Oh, forgot to get rid of the selection. This one's 85. exactly. This one is 64. This. See, here they're starting to join up. So in that case, what I usually do is I try to focus on all multiple sections of it. This one's 43. Miss. And this one is 21. Making sure I get everything this time. And there's one last color left to do. Black. However, the things are different when it comes to doing the black. Why? Well, this. I need better contrast. And then some. So, I just make that white. Change it back to black. This. See what I mean? Why I needed to do it in multiple sections? Except I did more sections than I was otherwise expecting. So, what I do this time, I need to zoom in quite a bit, and I use this to scan over where they join up like this here, looking for odd spots. That's what the white is for. Like, for example, delete a little bit. Okay, you can see the white, that's because of this. Now, I just need to do that with every single one of these clouds where they all join up. Because if I see anything that looks out of the ordinary, I'll know that something just isn't really quite right. What do I mean by that? Well, okay, I'll explain. Let's say that when I'm trying to do this, there's an odd pixel right here because it didn't quite really exactly get onto the edge. It's usually the diagonals, or sometimes like that, for example, too. It does happen, although it's not all that common. But I just wanted to demonstrate that. Okay, no problems there. No problems there. Sometimes I may end up unexpectedly scanning more than one thing at once. The same spot more than once, what I'm trying to say. Okay, I guess that's otherwise it as far as I can tell. So, now I need to re-provide the tiling. But there's one last step that I need to do. Oh yeah, I already got the black in there. Okay, well. So, 1024, center it. And now I just repeat that same tiling method that I did before. And once all the tiling is done, well, that's where I begin doing the exact same procedure with this particular layer. Except I should layer the image size. Yep, that bucket filled all that white on the bottom, and then duplicate. In this case, it's Gaussian blur 4 all the way through. I'll delete until I'm done with it, because you're probably very familiar with the process by now. Except in this case I go backwards. If you know what I mean. Oh, looks like I forgot to invert. Well, this is otherwise the end of this one. Then there's your gradient again for that. Of course, I need to get rid of that. And now it's time to provide the feathering effect. However, this does need call for another backup. Main. This time it's main. Hide that, I don't need it. Okay, and this is where things are different. Another good checkpoint for saving, of course. And now, I first need to do another Gaussian blur, except this time I use IIR. And I do the same on this. Okay, and there does happen to be a rather strange bug with this program, because that's 254 when it was. See, it was 255. This is with the Gaussian blur applied. Now it's 254. Yep, this program's very bad precision. It needs improvement. It's like it's using fractionals when it's not supposed to be. Or it's stopping junk after the decimal. So it's probably like a 254.9993 or something like that. But it still has an effect. Because I don't want you to be able to see through the clouds like that, which is what 254 is going to do. So what I do to counter that is to, well, bucket fill everything so it's 255. Of course, I'm not going to have any 254s, but hey, it really doesn't make much difference anyway. But anyway, you do get the idea. Now, to provide the feathering effect, it already looks kind of nice here, but it's not random at all, is it? But it does have that nice smooth feathering effect. However, to get the randomness that I need, let's see, where is it? Noise, spread. This, I use 3, and I do it 1. Just so you can compare the stages as it goes along. This is number 2. Number 3. And number 4. I do it 4 times. And I copy that same thing on here too. On the main, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how I get the randomization for the edges on the outside of the clouds. Now, I need to form the actual final results. And thus, here we go with another duplicate. Okay, this one's otherwise going to be the far, because that's the part that's not next to the cloud deck. But I duplicated once more for close. Except there's a problem. Grayscale. And for some reason, I can't do that, and I need to use it. Thus, there is a fix for that. Mode RGB. It's only temporary, of course. Let's see here. I need this. Yeah, that's a copy. Okay. Because now I can do that. What color was it that I used? It was black that I used, now that I remember. Because, whoa, that looks a lot different, don't it? Okay, well, and otherwise maximize the accuracy, because merge down is got less accuracy than flatten image. So what I do is I flatten the image, select all, copy, paste, make sure it's pasted, Z, 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 and then I go into this one. Ooh. And then I paste it. And there you have it. There's the cloud deck. Added in, or at least that boundary. Now I resize all these to 1024, which is what the standard tiling size is. Same thing on this. Okay, there's that part of it. And otherwise, this one's done. And that otherwise concludes stage 3 of this process. That was a pretty fast one, in a way, at least compared to the others.